So as many of you guys know, I'm a second generation insurance professional, and throughout my career I've had the opportunity to serve on the agency side and the carrier side. But you know, the conversation's always been the same. It's been about the customer life cycle, it's been about the hard market, the soft market, it's been about what's next in the industry. And we're gonna tackle all of those subjects as we get into season 3 of the podcast. We're taking the podcast to a whole new level here. Welcome to the VIP Podcast, Season 3. Let's go. Welcome to the VIP Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited to be here today with you because I've got literally like a good friend of mine. I say that a lot, but I literally have a good friend and one of my favorite people in the industry today hanging out with us, Dustyne Bryant. Hope her head didn't get too big. And then, you know, on top of that, you know, she works with the National Alliance. She's got a finger on the pulse. She knows so many things. She's worked in agencies. She's, you know, taught. She's done this. She's developed stuff. She's involved in colleges, and I don't know. She's got a lot going on. And I just think the world of her. She's a good friend of my wife's. I think she likes my wife better than me anyway. But, you know, welcome, Dustyne Bryant. So glad that you're here hanging out with us today.
I will neither admit nor deny any of those allegations that you just levied at me.
Right. You know,
I'm so excited to be here, Heath. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining us because, you know, this month in March, we are talking all things state of the industry, what's going on. We're talking like finger on the pulse type stuff. And so I thought, who has a better finger on the pulse than a girl from Maumelle, Arkansas?
I mean, right? Everybody forgets we people in Arkansas can actually be pretty educated sometimes.
We really can.
And I do have a pulse.
Right.
So, I mean, there's that.
There is that. And you literally put your finger on it just now. So those that are watching video. So I love that. And so speaking of finger on the pulse, I know your background. You know, I see you on soccer fields in Maumelle, but these people don't see you. So talk to me, you know, go back as far as you want to and lead me up to where you're at right now in your beautiful yellow shirt.
Oh my God. Well, I was born in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I'm still here. Is that far enough? Right.
All right. Now give me a little insurance context. People that don't know you might
Great.
be able to.
Okay. So my current position is Personal Lines Academic Director at the National Alliance for Insurance Education and Research, a 50-year-old company that provides insurance education to our industry. That's really kind of what started my passion in insurance. You know, like most people, I fell into it, if you will. Had no idea what I was freaking doing. Somebody recruited me from Aflac. And yeah, right. And the rest is history. So, no, that was probably sometime around 2006, 2007-ish. Oh my God, I turn 40 next year and I'm still dealing with the fact that that's happening. So like I'm having a hard time saying like I've been doing this for almost 20 years. I'm like, I'm not old enough to have been doing anything for 20 years, right? It's weird. So I am, my history in insurance is mostly all agency based, and I could have said it's all agency based 3 years ago, independent agency based, that is, until I came to the National Alliance. So now I've got like this little hybrid career path where it's not all agency based. But yeah, I started with Aflac, and then went to a regional brokerage with Regions Insurance, formerly Rebsamen Insurance here in Little Rock, Arkansas. Anybody from Arkansas knows that name. And then I transitioned to Brown & Brown Insurance under amazing leadership of our dear friend Tim White.
Oh yeah.
And he just kind of mentored me in a way that really, you know, skyrocketed my perspective on insurance. And it's all personal lines, my history and my expertise, if you will, though I'm not an expert in anything, so please don't hold that against me in the court of law, is in personal lines. That's my passion. And while most people in this industry, or at least on our side of things, I say our side, I don't know if you're on our side anymore or not. You might be on the dark side. But we'll talk about producers and building books of business and everything else. And my passion lies in service, in service skills and service sales. And, you know, we service producers as account managers. We service our clients as account managers. We service our agencies, our underwriters, our adjusters, although we get on their nerves a little bit more than most. But service is where my heart lies, as well as personal lines insurance. So that's me in a nutshell. I think that's the fastest I've ever described my history.
There you go. Okay, number one, I'm always on your side, and I'm always on the right side of things. And at Vertafore,
Are you?
Yes, always.
Let's get Stacy on the phone.
Right? So, no, I've learned to say yes, ma'am with Stacy, so I'm always on the right side. But with Vertafore, we love, first of all, we're very passionate, and it's in our, our DNA. We're passionate about the insurance industry. And we love service as well. And we try to power you to build those relationships and do the things that matter in service, and just power that with technology. And so we have everything that we do, and all of our platforms and all of our solutions are all built around what you just talked about. So, yes, on the same team there. Number two, I think it's neat, full circle. You go from Aflac Duck to now, aren't y'all like ducks and stuff at?
I know, yeah. So we went from Aflac Duck, which is the best known insurance duck, to being a freaking cheetah, man.
Yeah, you went to a cheetah, but now you're back to duck again at the National Alliance.
Duck, goose, and all over again, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. What is the duck thing about at National Alliance?
Paddle together, flock together. I think one thing our CEO Will Hold likes to say is calm above the water and paddle like hell underneath.
Yes.
Is kind of what it is. So we are cool, calm, and collected above, but we are busy little beavers, duckies. Sorry, not beavers. Busy little duckies paddling our feet underneath the water to bring the best insurance education to professionals. And I, before even coming to the National Alliance, let me say, I was a Kool-Aid drinker before I even knew the National Alliance actually existed. I did my education in insurance. Of course, I've got my traditional education through college, but I did my insurance education from the Big I here in Arkansas. And I got my education from the Big I. It was like, I didn't understand that the National Alliance was the creator of that education. And it really fueled my passion into insurance, and it was just a freaking awesome thing that I got to come and actually understand what goes into creating this education and igniting more passion within the industry.
So since you've been there at the National Alliance, I feel like Dustyne Bryant is everywhere now. You're doing the Awkward Insurance podcast.
Nice.
I see you at conferences. I see you speaking at events. I see you involved in different colleges and doing, I forgot the name of their fraternity, but I see you involved in that.
Gamma Iota Sigma.
That. I see you involved in so many things. So I feel like you were the right person to bring on this episode to talk about state of the industry a little bit. And, so that being said, I feel like it's only appropriate to start when you bring up the duck and the feet and the going like crazy under the water. I feel like that's kind of where our market is. I feel like we're in a hard market right now, and I feel like we're going to be in this hard market for a while.
You feel like we're in a hard market?
Okay.
We are in a hard market.
We are in a hard market. Sorry.
We're in the hardest market there has been in
ever,
and
it's not going away anytime soon, in my opinion. But you're my guest, so I want to hear it from your mouth.
Good Lord, you just lost a whole bunch of listeners by saying the hard market's not going away anytime soon.
I'm just telling the truth. I'm telling the truth because I feel like that's where we're at. I feel like we're in a place, and I don't know, a lot of people ask me, and I have my answers, but I want to hear, again, you're my guest, not me, so why do you think that is? Why do you think we're in one of the longest hard market cycles we'll ever see?
There's a lot of factors that are contributing to that, not only the expeditious factor of AI and technology that has come into play, the InsurTech companies that have started up, and they came in, I don't know about you, but before I came to the National Alliance, we were just starting to get a taste of these InsurTech insurance companies that were coming in with the lowest freaking rates you had ever seen. And you know what they say about when it seems too good to be true. So we were holding off on it. Progressive was even kind of getting in there a little bit, even though Progressive had been around. But underwriting at, the speed of light and giving you these rates that were so much lower than companies that underwrite slow as Christmas to make sure that they're getting the right risks in there. And I think that's kind of a little bit of what's fueling the hard market is, they came in with a great product, depending on, who you ask, with lower rates, but they didn't have the use of the historical data that the older companies did. And so that's kind of contributing to some of it. There's, of course, the litigious market that we have. Florida just kind of blew the whole daggum universe up down there. Sorry, Florida. I don't mean to throw you under that bus.
Well, no, but it's a well-known fact, and they accept
right? Right. So there's parts of that. And then when people start paying attention to that, freaking social media, I think, has generated more knowledge and information about why we're in a hard market, which may be some of the reason why we're staying in kind of a prolonged hard market, is because we're spreading information a lot faster than we ever have before. And then, of course, there was COVID. COVID just kind of blew a whole bunch of crap up. And when we started working from home and everything else, risks started changing, and we weren't ready for it because we hadn't had a historical, insurance window of working from home and no commuting and house rates booming, or, the cost of houses, going up exponentially, and then the cost of rebuilding and all of that. We just got hit with everything that has ever created a hard market in the past all at once.
Yeah. I think you're right. It was a perfect storm, if you will. And it all just kind of happened at once. And so,
I feel like in the past, you may have had like one or two reasons that might have contributed to a hard market, and we kind of evolved. But like I said, it was like, hey, let's take everything that we've ever experienced and drop it all in 1 year and see what happens.
Yeah. You brought up several things there that I want to unpack a little bit. But I know one of the things you brought up, which I thought was cool, was that you brought this up, was the InsurTech companies out there. And you recently, just because I know you well enough, you recently spent some time with some InsurTech companies, and you did some podcasting and did some things from a conference, involved with InsurTech. And so, did you see some things there that, kind of speak to state of the industry, or some cool stuff out there that, you could talk about?
The stuff I see in terms of the InsurTech companies, so you may be referencing a more recent podcast we did with Hippo and their CEO. We met a lot of InsurTech startups, some people that have been in it for a couple of years, at InsurTech Insights in New York in 2023. We'll be back there again this year. So I'm really interested from my perspective to see kind of what's changed, or if everything is still status quo, to see just what the rapid evolution of everything that I witnessed already is going to be. But what I see is just innovation. Everybody sees something and they want to create a solution for that. And they do in one way or another, but then it's kind of piecemeal still. Like there's a solution for this small problem, this small problem, this small problem, in insurance agencies in general. And I speak more from the agency-based side of things because that's where my experience is, rather than the insurance company side of things. But piecing things together is not the easiest thing to do as an insurance agency. You need something that's more packaged, kind of like, what the Vertafore products offer. Kind of situation. And so it's just, when you go to those conferences, when you see that tech, when you see the data that they're trying to use in order to generate better underwriting, it takes a while to make sense of that data and put it in a spot that's going to make sense for insurance agencies. So I kind of feel like we're on the front edge of it. We're still figuring out what all of this data means and how it's going to be used and everything else. And it'll get there. And it'll impact agencies for the better eventually. Just right now, it's kind of a wait and see, and let's see what comes out on top. And I think companies like Hippo and the Lemonade and stuff like that, they're sticking in it. They've had some hard times. Every insurance company has had a hard time this past year. Not just the new InsurTech companies, but the legacy companies have had hard times too. But the ones that are sticking through it and kind of re-innovating what they thought they were going to do and now coming up with a different solution or a different process, I think those are really going to be the ones that are going to show us the way into the future of InsurTech.
One of the things you brought up that I say repeatedly a lot to people is, we're not the only ones going through the hard market. When I get agents that call me and they're like, oh, this sucks right now, I'm dealing with this hard market, I don't know. Like, you're not the only one. Like, every agency in Arkansas to Texas to California to wherever, they're all going through it. It's very similar to, you brought up the pandemic. Our country wasn't the only one going through the pandemic. It was a worldwide pandemic. And so when you talk about hard market, you talk about pandemic, some of the things you were talking about, underwriting things, you talk about, cost of materials, you talk about cost of labor, that's a worldwide thing. That's an everybody thing, not just
for sure
us. You're not just you. And so, I hope that people listen to this, and the people that are doing the woe is me and how do I deal with this and I can't deal with this, whatever, you're not the only one.
There's one foot in front of the other. Yeah, I don't know how to do with it. One foot in front of the other. It's kind of like anything, even within your personal life, when you're going through something hard. I promise you, you're not the only one that's been there, even though it does feel that way. But you go one foot in front of the other. You watch what other people are doing and you take in the information and you make the next right decision based on the information that you have at the time. You might be able to look back, and hindsight is always 2020, and see that you could have made a better decision. But as long as you're making the best right or the next right decision that you have with the information at the time, you can't really go wrong with that. This hard market is not like anything we've seen before. We were joking before we got on here, and I said I was born in a hard market. And it's kind of funny, is 2007-ish is when I started, which is when the housing bubble hit and busted. And I remember feeling I was the last in, I'm the first one out, because it was not only a hard job market, but then it became a hard insurance market, and I had to learn what that meant. And I think we went through maybe one kind of smaller hard market after that. I can't remember what year that was, to be perfectly honest with you. But when I think back on that, in these times, you transition your strategy between a hard market and a soft market when you're booming and writing a crap ton of business and moving something from here to there and everything else. And in a hard market, it's a great time to focus on your customer. It's a great time to focus on your agency processes. It's a great time to make sure that your foundation is solid, so that when that soft market comes back around and when it starts booming again, you've got the structure to be able to scale and keep going.
Yeah, and listen to you. Look at you giving all of this, touchy-feely advice and all this good stuff. I love it.
I should have said education in there somewhere. That's part of the foundation of that. This
I'm
is
sure
the
we
time
can
to focus on.
We could edit that in to make it sound like you said education.
Yeah, no, I was, thinking in
that
terms
goes
of
back
building
to
that foundation. Yeah, for sure.
That goes back to both the things that you said: the customer, the processes. Putting your customer first. I think education is a big part of that. And so, again, you brought up tech. We've talked about data when it comes into that. And at first, when data, the buzzword came out in my hemisphere, so to speak, it was like 2-3 years ago. I thought, it's just a buzzword; it'll go away. But we're still in 2024.
Data was a buzzword?
I thought so. Not the word data, but just in our industry, people are like, let's focus everything on data. And now, we're still talking about this. And now, as you mentioned,
that's the problem. There's so much of it, we still haven't figured out what to do with it. So it's not a buzzword. It's just it's something that's there, and we still haven't figured out what to do with all of it.
Right. But that was just something I would hear everywhere I'd go. That's why I say buzzword. It'd just be like, we're using the data here, and we're going to take this, and we're going to try to do this with your data, and that with your data. Data. That's kind of like right now.
Synergy.
Yeah, or AI right now.
Right. Let's build synergy. I know, right? I think everybody is applying the term AI to almost anything that's automated.
Yep.
I'm like, no, that's just automation. That's not AI.
That's not AI. You're exactly right. And so, again, going back to state of the industry, you hear that a lot with these tech companies, I'm sure. We're using AI to do this, right?
Yeah.
Or, carriers talking about, hey, we're going to start using AI to do this or do that. Is that something you see as maybe future? We talk about state of the industry and things going on. Is that something you're seeing out there that might continue?
I mean, AI for sure is the state of the is the future of any industry right now, and figuring out how to use it. But it's a very cautious, slow going movement at the moment. I mean, there are risk takers out there that are jumping in. I don't want to say with both feet, but like full body force, right?
Yeah.
And that's great. It takes people jumping into the deep end and getting swallowed up by it for innovation to progress. But then in terms of the insurance industry, we're treating it, cautiously. There's a lot of the information. You can put the information out there. You can add information into the OpenAI and all of that kind of stuff, but it's still learning how to interpret it and putting those pieces together. And it might take information that looks the same and put it together, but it doesn't fit. So you have to treat it very cautiously. So yeah, it's the future for sure. It's definitely the future in terms of when you're an insurance company or an agency and you are adept at using an AI in terms of an information gatherer and towards getting information to your company without you being there. Do you need something from your agency that an automated chatbot can get for you because it knows what parts of your agency data to go into and pull that and send it to your customer? Yes, that's the future of something. Not the future of customer service in terms of face-to-face service, but definitely an added component to improving service and giving people information at the rate that they want their information. I mean, here at the National Alliance, we are doing lots of things in terms of trying to use AI. Not a single bit of it we've released in terms of what we're working with, but we're playing with it. So if you're playing with it, then you obviously see a future in it.
Sure. And I think that's one of those things that, even we've talked about my wife a couple of times on here. And so sorry, honey, but even she and I've talked about, AI. And in the beginning, when we first started hearing about ChatGPT and all that kind of stuff, she was like, there's no way, I can't get into that.
There is a way.
And I won't get into it. I won't use it because she's got an English background. And so she's a writer she's like, I'm not going to use AI to write my posts or my blogs or my emails. And the other day we were talking yesterday, actually, and she was like, now I use GPT to write my emails. Right. Sorry, I've been talking all day. But, to write my emails or to write some of this stuff, obviously I do my own cleanup and do my thing, and it knows my voice now. But it's just interesting to see even someone like that coming on, which my wife was hardcore against it. But there's a lot of agents out there that are listening to this, a lot of carriers that are listening to this that are still a little bit scared of those two letters.
You know what? Use it for a soft skill if you're afraid of it at first, to be honest. We've all got that one client, client who you get them on the phone or you see their name come across the, what is it called? You can see their
caller ID.
Whatever. Yes, caller ID. My gosh. See, we don't use that terminology very much. It just comes across your phone. But you see it come across the caller ID and you're like, do I let this one go to voicemail or do I need to pick it up?
Is that what you do every time I call?
So what I was saying was,
that's funny.
You've got a piece of information. This is what I've done before. Somebody's difficult that you need to talk to. You can put in your perception of their personality. I need to talk to this person. They usually combat me with this. They usually, kind of scoff at me a little bit, and I need to deliver this information to them. And you type that information in. I need to tell them that the rates are too high and I don't have another market. I need to tell them that this is the best option, or I need to give them 3 options. Tell me how I can deliver that information. And you can do that. And it might not be 100% the way you want to say it to the person, but it definitely gets you out of your own head and your own biases, because we're people. And we're already biased because we wanted to send that person to voicemail. Right? So you put that information in and you're like, you know what? That was smart. It's the same thing as without AI, the way I used to sit down at a colleague's desk and go, okay, you're going to play Mr. So-and-so and I'm going to play me. We all know his personality. So I need you to give it to me the way he would so that I can sell this to him. And you just dialogue back and forth. Only now you're doing it with a bot. Right? So, I mean, if you're afraid of AI, deal with it that way. Just dabble in it a little bit. You can put in personality quirks or another way that I've used it, not necessarily professionally based, but person I was talking to, and I just know that they always I'm not going to say who it was. It's personal person. It's not a work person. Personal person, they always misconstrue what I say because they've always read my texts and their attitude, right? So I really want to tell them this, but this is how they're going to see it. How do you suggest I text this to them? Because we always lose context through text, and it gave me the perfect text.
Nice.
And I just copied and pasted that right in, and it worked, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the way you can start dabbling in it. In terms of ChatGPT, it can give you all kinds of thoughts that just at least get you unstuck from what your own biases are, information that you may have already had. But just couldn't pull it out of the right areas of your brain, kind of thing. So
okay, so go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, one way we are using it here at the National Alliance, I don't know anybody who likes to write an exam bank. It's difficult. You have to come up with different ways to kind of test on the same material in order to have iterations of an exam, right? So you take a chunk of information and you say, give me a multiple choice question around this. Now, that's not the final product. We then still use our expert exam writers, our instructional designers that we have here at the National Alliance, and they tweak it and they add in the National Alliance personality and the information. But that is another way that you can use it. Now, I know that doesn't translate to agencies very well, but AI can definitely help. You just have to find ways to be comfortable of using it.
That was some great examples of great advice on that. And so the other thing I was going to ask you about, as we talk about state of the industry and things that, that I'm hearing about, and I know you have as well, is, and I always get it wrong, but parametric insurance, and you've got cyber insurance. You've got all these, they're not new coverages. Cyber's been around a while, but it's a more important coverage that people are talking about now. But parametric insurance
that people are still afraid of. They're
right.
like, oh, nobody's going to hack me. Okay.
Bull crap.
Second Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you've got some of these coverages out there, that people are talking about now, or not coverages, but, things people are talking about now. And I'm still wrapping my head around parametric insurance, and I think it's fascinating. But when you talk about some of these type things, state of the industry, is this something that people should pay more attention to?
Yeah, for sure. Well, parametric is not new.
Right.
Commercial insurance has used parametric in the past. It's newer to personal lines. And I think I had a podcast from InsurTech Insights last year where
I'm trying not to admit that I listen to every episode of Awkward Insurance, but I do.
That there was an episode there where somebody very adeptly explained parametric insurance as life insurance being the first parametric coverage. The metric is you died and you got paid. Nobody comes in to check the, how dead you are. Or that you died in the right spot, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But there is a metric, and it triggered and it paid, and that's essentially what parametric coverage is. Now, I have a course called Other Personal Lines Solutions. It's in our CISR program, and I wrote a piece about parametric into that when talking about catastrophe coverage. Where you would normally have an earthquake policy, a traditional earthquake policy with a 10% deductible. If an earthquake strikes, the way I would always explain it to my clients is it's true catastrophic coverage. You're not going to be filing some piddly little claim on earthquake. You've got to wait till it hits a 10% threshold, which is like $10,000 for you if you've got the $100,000 house. So just easy math there. But parametric is the fill the void of that. If you've got this traditional earthquake coverage that is still super cheap by most accounts, and you don't have the $10,000 for sitting in your bank account, you get the parametric coverage that says if the earthquake hits at this magnitude or shimmies, is that a word?
We'll take
shivers? Tremors.
We'll
tremor,
take it.
Tremor, shimmies for this amount of time or this amount of centimeters, then the coverage will trigger. There's a flood flash that puts little things. Good gracious, where are my words?
Words are
today?
tough. Words are tough.
Words are tough on a Monday, man.
They are. Especially
little
Monday
sensors.
morning.
There we go. Sensors. Good gosh. When I just said the word sensors, I thought of that tornado movie that sends the sensors up into the tornado.
There you go.
Anyways, little sensors outside the house. And when it triggers, when water touches that area for a prolonged period, because, it rains or whatever, and nobody wants, throw a bucket of water on the sensor. If there is a flood event that's happening in that area, then that sensor triggers and it sends the money. Or there is solar insurance for wind, and same concept applies. They use data from NOAA to come in and tell them how fast the winds were moving and if something happened, and you don't have to even call to get your payment on that claim. The metric triggers, the payment goes out. It's as simple as that. And it covers those gaps in between. And I definitely think it's something that the insurance industry or that insurance agents should be paying attention to and getting their appointments for, because insurance is getting harder to get, and it's getting harder to get through new business. And if you can put a large deductible on wind and hail and then get a parametric policy from a wind and hail carrier that's doing parametric coverage for maybe $100 or whatever it costs, that's going to help you get that new business through a lot easier and have something to fill that gap until that deductible kicks in and the insurance actually ends out paying kind of situation. So definitely.
It goes back to that customer. You were talking about focusing on that customer, and it's about, yes, we're in a hard market, but you've got to put that customer first, educate them on, here's the options. You don't have to just focus on traditional, your price is here because of this. Now you can get creative. And I think we've gotten to a place in our industry where now we've got to get a little creative, and we can now. a little bit
It's a
more.
package of insurance solutions. And
Yeah.
if you don't have the different tools in your toolbox and all you're offering is what you've always offered,
Yep.
you're giving that customer the opportunity to hear something really new, creative, and innovative and lose that entire customer instead of just one piece of their business.
Yeah, that was good. Look at you. Okay, so I wanted to get into
Look at me.
Because that was a good answer. So I like where you're coming from this, and we've brought up education. We're talking to the clients about education and talking about some of these things. And, at the National Alliance, obviously, you guys do education when it comes to CIC and some of the CISR and some of those programs there. Do you guys update your material year by year, month by month, year?
I wouldn't have a job if we didn't. Hello, that's what we do.
I understand this, but I need them to I want my audience to hear that you guys are keeping your finger on the pulse. You guys are doing those things, and if they're not involved with the National Alliance, sell them on that.
Yeah, at the National Alliance, the one thing that we really pride ourselves on in terms of the education that we offer to the industry is that it's practical, and we've got practitioners teaching practitioners. Our instructors that are here from the National Alliance or that partner with the National Alliance, they're active agency owners, they're active producers, they're active customer service agents. We've got instructors that are claims adjusters at big insurance companies. We've got instructors that are underwriters at big name insurance companies. So they bring a wealth of information. As an academic director, what I do is I'm the one that keeps a pulse on that. So I talk to people like you and other people out in the industry. I go to the conferences, I hear what's happening, but then I also take this information to our instructor subject matter experts, is what we like to call them, SMEs, and we talk about it. So in terms of CISR curriculum, I already said that personal lines insurance is my expertise. Don't hold it against me in the court of law, but it is my expertise and what I keep my finger on. We've got ADs for commercial lines, agency management, insurance company, life and health, fantastic people. And what we do is we get our committees together with other industry people who are active. I select people that are from various regions of the United States. So we're not just pigeonholed down here in the southern parts of Arkansas and Alabama talking about mobile home insurance instead of, big name stuff. But we get them together and we talk about, what is going on. Is this curriculum the way it's currently written? Is it still holding true, or do we need to tweak it, or do we need to completely revise it? So for the last 3 years, I have revised the CISR personal auto, personal residential, and we also now have the other personal line solutions, which dabbles in a little bit of other miscellaneous lines for personal lines. And then I am currently in the process of revamping, and hopefully will be released soon, our CIC personal lines. And so we're making it a little different. It's wholly the same. We're definitely updating the materials so that they're more user-friendly, a little bit more textbook-like, so that you don't have to worry about whether or not you wrote your notes down correctly from what the instructor said, because we sometimes get lost in, that we should be at the grocery store after this getting our milk and eggs before the snowstorms hit, right? So it's a little bit more textbook-like, but we're building in a lot more tools for self-study so that after the class, before you go to take that exam, we want you to know the information, not just memorize it until you can take the test, because we want the designation to mean something not only to you, but to the insurance agency that invested in paying for you to take it, but also the industry, so that when they see these designations, they know that you didn't just memorize material to take a test. You are actually proficient in understanding policy language, in risk management, in comparing policies together, in building products for your clients that are meant for them, and not just what you have to offer, that you go out and you seek what is right for your clients. So that's what we do with all of the additional resources that we're building into our courses now, so that hopefully there is enough to touch everybody where they're at. We've got people in terms of, we have got multi-generational participants now, right? I think the insurance industry, it's been said before, has every single generation that's currently alive in our market in terms of job force at the moment. So you've got people that are used to holding textbooks in their hand and writing flashcards. And that's the way we grew up learning in high school. And so we don't do very well with digital textbooks. But then you've got Gen Xers, or no, not Gen Xers, Gen Zers. Gen Xers are getting older now. But Gen Zers who have maybe never held a physical textbook because they had Chromebooks in school or whatever technology they had in school, and they're used to making electronic notes. And so we've got the tools that try to meet each one of those participants where they're at, no matter what their learning style is.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up about the generational, because my dad, 80 years old, still slinging insurance, all the way down to my son, who's about to be 16, who started helping out and doing some things, within the industry.
Your dad was my husband's life insurance agency at the police department for
Yes.
the longest time.
Exactly. And I've talked to Scotty about that some. So again, going back to National Alliance, I didn't want to, get off sidebar too much. But, okay, so I love that you guys are keeping a finger on the pulse, updating your courses, updating that, because a lot of people may not have known that. So I'm glad they do. Tell the audience as we wrap up here how they can get involved, why they should get involved, where to go, what to do, anything like that you want to do as we wrap up the last few minutes here.
So you may find, are you talking about in terms of the courses that we have, or how to get involved
Anything
with the National Alliance?
This is you. I'm giving you floor. Go. Scary,
oh my
but
gosh.
I'm giving it to you.
So we still wholly have our courses at your favorite association, if you will. So the Big I here in Arkansas distributes course material to insurance agents here in Arkansas. We've got some other states use PIA, some states use Big I as their association for distributing the course material. And that is always a great option. I consider it one of the best options, because then you get to interact with people that are in your local market, with other professionals and experts that are close to you, and you start to build that network, especially if you're newer in the industry. For those that are a little bit more experienced or maybe more introverted, the National Alliance distributes all of our curriculum in various different modes. So there's the in-person, which is mostly through the associations like the Big I and PIAs. But then we also have instructor-led webinars that you can do on your own time, in terms of you choose when you want to take that webinar when it's being offered. But then we also have courses that are offered self-paced as well. And each course not only is very likely to move you towards a designation, depending on which designation journey you've chosen, but is going to offer you CE to help you keep your license updated and renewed. And then a wealth of knowledge and access to other experts that teach the course, that are attending the courses themselves. Our instructors are keeping their CICs, CRMs, CPRMs, so many different designations that we have, as well as some introductory courses that we've recently added that was intended to kind of help those who might be interested in the insurance industry but don't know anything about it. Or it might be for your accounting leader, somebody that at least needs to know what they're doing accounting for. They might not be interested in a designation and don't need CE, so they can take some intro courses to understand what the insurance industry is. And all of that's available to you at our website, www.scic.com. Let me slow that down. SCIC.com.
And what does that stand for? What's the S?
The Society of CIC, Certified Insurance Counselors. So Society of Certified Insurance Counselors, our company started over 50 years ago with Dr. Hold, an amazing, wonderful man. And his partners started the education for insurance counselors. And that's where it started, as the Certified Insurance Counselor. And so it means a lot to me. My designations do. They mean a lot in the industry. And gosh, it's just a great group of people. Anytime we find CICs or CISRs anywhere at industry events, it's just like, oh my gosh, I know you, or, whatever. So Yeah, we've got a ton of tools online as well, just like any other company with a website, a lot of resources that are there. You can find us in podcasts. You can find us on social media. You just got to look. That's all you got to do is take the first step towards looking.
So I've referenced it already, so I got to give you an opportunity to talk about that too for a minute. Is there anything new and exciting going on with the Awkward Insurance podcast?
Well, we're just keeping it awkward, man.
There you go. Keeping it awkward.
We're keeping it awkward. We got a lot of stuff planned for this year. I don't want to go through all the details. We don't got time for all of that, but it'll be fun. Either way, whatever we do,
guest
we're just
host or same co-host. You got a new one this season,
right? Ashley Fitzsimmons is co-host with me. She comes on every once in a while if she can get there, and we just whatever's on our mind. It's whoever we meet next. We don't always have a plan going into it. In terms of what, next episode we want to do, but it comes a lot through who have I met and how interesting are they and what message do they have that the industry needs.
And how awkward could I make them?
Right. And just like the CIC or the National Alliance, our biggest goal here is to level up your career. And so the more people I can find that have something to say and their voice hasn't been heard yet, and that helps level up their career, God, that makes me the happiest always.
So you could find that out anywhere you can listen to podcasts, the Awkward Insurance Podcast. Plus, you have a Facebook group that's growing rapidly.
Oh, my gosh. I'm learning how to be a Facebook admin. That's the craziest stuff ever.
You can find Dustin and what's going on at the National Alliance anywhere you want to look, it sounds like. I appreciate you hanging out with me, and I'm sure we'll talk later today at some point. But I appreciate you. And I appreciate your friendship to the industry and to me personally. Thank you for being here. To the audience that's listening, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for hanging out with us on the Vertafore Insurance Podcast, Season 3. I'm excited about. And continue to listen, subscribe, find the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Find Dustin wherever you get on social or emails, whatnot. Laugh at her as she's doing silly things behind me right now.
Listen, I'm bebopping to my headphones.
That's right. Have a great day, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Well, that was a great episode.
Amazing. It was an amazing episode.
I really enjoyed that content. Guys, if you enjoyed that content and you want more of it, make sure you hit the subscribe button.
Nah, dude. You got to tell them to crush it. Crush that subscribe button, guys.
All right. Whether you want to crush it, smash it, hit it.
Bop it?
Sure, we could bop it. Either way, guys, we don't want you to miss another episode. We enjoy spending time with you, the VIP.
Yeah. We'll see you next week.